I'd like to introduce you to a Tamil game from the south of India. It goes by many names, and here's the list. Please forgive me while I totally mispronounce these names. Pallankuzhi, actually pronounced Pallanguli. I don't know why the ZH is in there, just the way it's pronounced, I guess. Vamana Guntalu, Pathanelamkuli, Alagulimane, Bantumi, Pallankuli, Chana Damani, and Botkul. Whatever you call it, it's a mancala game. Usually when we think of mancala, we think of Africa. But the mancala-style games are actually more widespread than that. This particular one, as I say, comes from South India. Sometimes they don't look like the mancala game that we expect, which is a version of Wari from North Africa. There are lots of different kinds of mancala, and I'm going to do a video about mancala, the whole family of games here one of these days. I've got the script about half written now. But this particular version is kind of unique, with a unique board and 2 players with fists full of tamarind seeds. The little red tamarind seeds, or cowrie shells, are the default for this game. Now, according to The Hindu, which is India's national newspaper, as reported in their September 20th, 2006 edition, Pallankuzhi has been a woman's pastime during breaks at the workplace, an entertaining way to improve math and motor skills, or a marathon affair during festivals like Sivaratri and Vaikunta Ekadasi. The women would often make temporary boards, digging little pits in the ground, and pick up the seeds or pebbles available on the spot. In Hindu mythology, it is believed that Sita played this game under the Asoka tree during her captivity in Lanka. That is a tale, I'm sad to report, I'm not familiar with. The name Pallanguli comes from the Tamil and Malayalam languages, and it means many pits. Pallankuzhi doesn't have as many pits as a lot of mancala games, but even within the family of games there in India, there are variations on the number of pits. So here's my Pallankuzhi board. I made it myself. This follows kind of an unusual configuration, apparently. Most boards have just 7 holes, 7 pits on each side, and the seeds that you win just kind of go in a stack on a table. Some of them have the 7 holes in a row and then a home on each end that you can save up your pieces. I just kind of like the configuration of this one, where in this case, these 6 holes on my side are mine, plus the 7th one on the end. And the opponent then is those 6 plus the 7th one on that. And then these 2 pits in the middle where the seeds would be collected for scoring. Let me just start out by playing this around the board, and you can see as I stop to explain what's going on. So I start out on my side of the board here, plus that one. I can pick any of the pits that I want and just starting to sow the seeds around the board. So I'll just pick this one. Kind of arbitrary. I haven't played this enough to know the best way to do it. 4, 5, and when I get to the last one, I take the seeds from the next pit and continue around the board. And when I get to that one, I take the seeds from the next pit and continue around the board like so. Oops. And the next one. Takes a few turns to get everything going here on this game. And the next one. The next pocket is empty, so that means I get to take all the seeds from this pocket, and those are mine. Now that signals the end of my turn. Some variations of the game say that when you take all those seeds, then you take the one from the opposite side as well. Nearly all of the variations that I saw say if at any time you're seeding around the board and a pocket ends up containing 4 seeds, you get to take it if it's on your side of the board. and that can even be during the other player's turn. I got all the way around here. Now it's time for my opponent's turn. Go around the table.
Oops. Oops.
There's 4 there, so that becomes mine. Four.
Empty.
And now my opponent's turn.
Empty.
And now my turn. 4. And take the next pocket. Empty, empty. I don't get any. Opponent's turn.
4 here. 4 here.
My turn. Now we got to that point where the opponent's pits are completely empty. When one of the players' pits are completely empty, then that round is over. And then you count up the number of seeds that you've won that are in your scoring pit there in the middle, and whoever has the most wins. There are some rules that say that you continue to play rounds, you continue to play a series of games, and add up your scores. There's a lot of different ways that you can do that. There are some that start with 4 seeds in a pocket, some start with 5, some start with 6. It's a regional thing, I guess, but I think the 5 works the best. It just, from the mathematics of going around the table, it works the best. The most awkward part, obviously, you could tell from the way I played this, is just manipulating those seeds around the thing. Now, these little plastic guys are kind of slippery up against each other. One of the variations that I saw said I would take all the seeds that are in my pits back here and keep those aside, and then using whatever I've won, go ahead and set up for the next round. And if there's any pits with less than 6 or less than 5 or any empty pits, they just get skipped. That's going to be kind of hard to keep track of unless you have some way of signifying that that pit is no longer in play, and you just skip over it as you go around, so that the board actually shrinks as you play more and more rounds of the game. That apparently is not a very common rule, but I can see when you're playing a series of games that would definitely shorten things up a bit. So if you're going to play amongst your friends or whatever, you can pick whatever rules variation feels good to you. If you're playing against somebody who actually knows how to play the game from their family tradition or stuff like that, I think it's a lot like those English pub games that every village and every pub has its own house rules about how things are played, and making clear when you sit down at the table what your expectations are is very important. So let me know if you've played the game before, if you have any insights into better ways to play or variations that I should try. Let me know if I did anything wrong. That's always a good place to start. But whether you play Pallanguli or any other game for that matter, you know what I always say, be sure to play every day. I really like it when I see that mancala sewing mechanic show up in other games. I utilize that in my card game, Medicine Wheel, and works pretty good in the card game. And of course, if you ever played Five Tribes, it's a very prominent mechanic in that game. So just a note to you game designers out there, it's a neat mechanic, and I think we should see more of it. So there's your game design challenge.